So Nolan actually locked in his first client 2 years ago at this point. His first client was a $4,500 a month spa. And ever since then, he's been anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 a month, but has big plans for this year. So I think there's nothing much else to say. Gonna roll the interview. It's a good one. And when you guys are, it's quite entertaining when he tries to give an answer that is self-serving, or the normal sort of like self-help, invest in yourself type stuff. I'm like, no, give the people the tangible. Not that that isn't tangible advice, but you see what I mean. Stick around until then. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another student interview. I'm here today with Nolan, and yeah, this is definitely long overdue. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Nolan's been initially you were part of Six Figure SMA, right?
Yeah, I was.
And then obviously now part of Agency Incubator. So you've gone up to I know you've done 8K months, 6K, et cetera, always just kind of within that ballpark.
Yeah.
With your agency servicing, I mean, historically, you said spas, right?
Yeah, so spas historically, but switching into ecom.
Okay, understood. So I'm putting words in your mouth. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you got into this whole funny world, and
Yeah,
et cetera.
yeah, it's kind of a funny long story actually. So I first started out when I was like around 16. I saw obviously like the Ty Lopez he was doing his whole spiel with SMMA, and I thought that was like the coolest sounding thing ever. I've always loved like marketing, creative work, so it was really appealing to me. I actually tried to convince my mom to to lend me the $1,000 for the course, and of course she thought I was batshit crazy because I was asking her for $1,000 to pay to some guy on the internet. And so I ended up just learning by myself.
It's not a very convincing pitch, is it?
Yeah, no, not at all. Especially when you're like 16 and like, yeah, it was just like, it was a no-go. So I taught myself online a lot, and I was just like learning from people on YouTube and stuff like that. And I kind of was just getting to know that. And I started getting to the point where I noticed a lot of like, 20, 30-year-olds were sort of into it. And I kind of just thought to myself, damn, I can't do this. Like, I'm only 16. No business owner's going to take me seriously. And then I came across your channel, I think in like 2017, around that time. And I kind of just saw you were like, he's making these big moves. And I was like, holy shit, like this guy knows what he's doing. So I started following you, started like kind of following exactly what you're doing and just kind of see what you're doing. And then in 2018, after I graduated high school, I took a gap year to try to get things rolling and try to get things going on that. And basically the deal with my mom that I had was, you know what, if I can't get anything going in the year, I'll go back to school, I'll submit to society, that kind of thing. So I eventually got my first client. It was for $4,500 a month.
I remember
And
that.
so it was a big day. It was a big, really exciting day. Took my parents on like this super fancy dinner. It was just like a really fun time. And then, just been working on it ever since and haven't had to go back to school. So can't really complain about that at all. So yeah, that's kind of the
How
spiel.
old are you now?
I'm 19, so turning
So every
20 in a
19-year-old's
couple months.
dream.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a great time.
So look, let's get a little bit more specific and granular. How do
Mhm.
you actually manage to sign that first client?
So I started out with cold email outreach. So I was using at the time like one of those mass outreach sort of mailing systems. And now that I look back at it, that was like a terrible thing to do for my company, but it
Yeah,
worked. And I got this.
the eye roll says everything.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a terrible idea, but I got this one meeting, and I remember looking at them, and I was like, okay, I can maybe work with this. And I was gonna pitch like maybe like $1,000, $2,000, and um, pretty much what happened there was um, I kind of went on their website. I noticed they had like multiple locations. They were in this big spa. I hadn't heard of it before, but it was like just like this really big spa. So um, I decided to just pitch like this huge number to them, thinking that I'd get it. And sure enough, that's what happened, and it worked out for him. And like he just looked at me and
What
was like, "Yeah,
what was the thinking? So you said initially you were thinking of charging a K or 1,500. Like, what made you
yeah."
last
Well,
minute
so
decide
for
to go for
me,
4,500?
yeah, so for me, like I've always been told like, you can charge 1 to 2K, and I always thought that was a lot. And then I was like, okay. So I looked at these guys and I was like, well, they're doing like, they have all these locations and this and that. Like, so chances are they're making a good amount of money. And when I was talking to the owner, I literally made this decision in the meeting. So I was talking to the owner and I asked him how much his revenue was, and he was saying like, oh yeah, we bring in about 1.1 to 1.2 million a month. So I was like, oh shit, like that's a big amount of money right there. So I pitched him at this 4,500 a month, and he just kind of was like, okay. Like after I gave him the spiel about what we did, he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it. And I was like, just like kind of blown away. I was like, okay, you do realize I'm 18, right? And you're paying me this much money. So, yeah, that's what happened. He was fine with that. So it was a big day for sure. Super excited. He signed the contract, got the money in for, I think, a couple days later. So worked out really good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how long was it until you got your second client?
I'd say it took a while. It took a while. I'd say about 6 months. I got a bit lazy after that. I was really comfortable at 4,500, 18 years old and balling. So I was comfortable, but about 6 months, and I started working with other companies and doing sales and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's about when it started taking off. And yeah, so it's been good ever since then.
Did that client last you 6 months?
Yeah, it's still going. Still going to this day, actually.
Still with
So
them. Damn.
yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. So
So
it's
what's it
good.
been, 2 years?
Almost 2 years, yeah. So really good client retention there for sure, and I'm really happy with that. So it's
Mhm.
been going good.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
so right now you're making around 5,000 a month with your agency. What does
Yeah.
a normal day in your life look like? Do you have a team? Do you do the service delivery yourself, et cetera, et cetera?
So I do a lot of the delivery myself. So I do in terms of like ads and stuff like that. I create that as of right now. But in terms of the back end stuff, I have like a lead source that I just started working with for like e-com and stuff like that. I used to have like someone that did graphic design and stuff like that for me. I kind of had to let them go because they weren't doing that well. But yeah, in terms of the day in the life of me, I guess I get up, I follow like I pretty much just communicate with the team, figure out what's going on, and then I kind of if it wasn't Corona season, I would be kind of looking at like ads, making sure they're operating properly, make sure they're going good, and then just kind of do a lot of outreach. Like it's a lot of outreach during the day for me. I might do some learning throughout the day, stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of it really just depends on the day. But that's kind of the average, just like outreach, team, ads, stuff like that. But right now, it's kind of a bit slower because it's mostly just outreach today, like as of since this Corona stuff broke out. So I've just kind of been doing tons of outreach, and then yeah, that's kind of the gist of it there.
That's awesome. So that client that you've had for 2 years, you've still managed to retain him with everything going on, even though they're a
Yeah.
local client.
Yeah, yeah, they're closed now. They don't have like their stores are closed. So the way we managed to do that is I just manage their content right now as well as their email marketing and just keeping those leads on top of them so they know uh, where to go to once they reopen. And so far so good. So I'm hoping it stays that way.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I picked up there that you said you have someone who finds the leads for you.
Yeah, so I have a lead sourcer who does all that for me. So he finds like companies, he qualifies them, he finds contact information. He basically does, that's like the biggest part of the job that I've hated. So I made sure to get someone to do that for me. And yeah, it's been good ever since.
Mhm. Do you mind sharing how much you pay him?
Yeah, for sure. So we're doing currently $5 an hour. So he works hourly, and that's what he quoted me. So I went with that. He works about anywhere from 15 to 20 hours a week. So we get couple hundred good quality leads, I'd say. And I have to filter through sometimes and just figure out what's good. And then I just do looms for all of them. And yeah, that's sort of
Mhm.
where it's at right now.
So how much time would you say that's taken off your hands?
Honestly, so it takes him about, I'd say like 15 hours to get a couple of hundred good leads. And for me, I absolutely sucked at lead sourcing. Like I can find companies, but in terms of finding actual people to contact, I'd say that took off like a good couple hours a day. So it's like really good. Like if you look at the grand scheme of things, I'm saving a ton of time just from hiring him. Best thing I've done so far. So
Yeah, I mean, for
yeah.
what, like 10 to $12 a day, definitely
Yeah,
worth it.
literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Um,
definitely great.
so you're at a point now where you've kind of been in the agency space longer than that, but you've had a running successful agency
Mhm.
for almost 2 years at this point. Um,
Yeah.
I talked to a bunch of different students, and I think there was actually a comment on one of the student interviews, and it was like, they were like, it's so, basically the person commented, and they were like, it's so interesting just seeing like the plethora of different students and like how different they all are, and like how some are just how people just want different things from their life, their lifestyle, as well as their agency. So how does your agency fit into your lifestyle?
Um, it's kind of it's that's a good question actually. I've never been asked something like that fit into my lifestyle. For me, I like to I like to travel a lot and I like to just have that time freedom. And so for me, especially like friends and family, like just being able to I guess I can take you back on the backstory a little bit. So when I was like 15 to I'd say about when I quit my job, I was working, and so I never really had that time freedom to I never had that time freedom to do what I wanted to do, to travel. So that was kind of like the big selling point for SMMA to me. It's being able to be my own boss, being able to sort of grow and work from wherever. And I'm actually supposed to be in LA right now, but that got canceled. So just being able to travel and do fun stuff like that and just kind of live my life how I want to. That's the great thing, is I'm able to manage it from anywhere in the world. I'm able to whether it's from my bedroom, or if it's from Los Angeles, or like there's nowhere that I can't do my job, which is a big thing for me because I've never been able to do that before. So I guess that's how it fit into my lifestyle. It gives me that time freedom. That's kind of the most exciting part for me, is just having that time freedom.
That's awesome. So, you know, understandably, I can imagine your parents thought you were batshit crazy when you got into this entire world. Like,
Oh yeah.
what's been your friends and family sort of reaction to all of this?
Yeah, so at first it was kind of a like I said, I asked my mom for that loan to get that first course way back when. And um I think the biggest thing was that a lot of them expected me to go to university. A lot of them expected me to, move on to doing that. And so when I told them that I wasn't going to, and that I didn't care to do that, it was kind of a big shock for them, because I'd spent my whole life, kind of preparing for this big moment to go to school. And then suddenly out of the blue, it's like, oh, you want to start this business that you know you've found online, and you want to take this course. So it was like this really big kind of like, well, my mom and dad had faith in me that I could do it. It was still like this very much like skeptical. um they were very supportive, but it was very just like any good parent, they're skeptical. They just want what's best for you. So it was very, they rather me go to school. And even to this day, my dad still tells me, he asks me, he's like, "Are you going to go to university at all?" I'm like, "No, like, why in God's name would I do that?" So yeah, even same with my friends, it was kind of like just like that, like kind of skeptical, but still like very supportive. So it was mostly just my parents that wanted the best for me. And so I don't blame them for being skeptical at all, but it was very, just skepticism, I guess, like some guy online is teaching you. so, so yeah. And then,
So,
yeah.
yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah. No, no, no. I've always like, I've talked about you a lot, and they're just like, "Are you sure he's not just trying to take your money, this and that?" And I was like, "No, no, he's a great guy. I swear to God, he's smart, and he's all that." So I think that when I showed them a lot of the course videos that I did, they kind of got a bit better at believing that I could do it. So um, yeah, that's kind of how it went there.
That's awesome. Appreciate you standing up for me. But so look, what does the rest of 2020 look like for your agency?
Like I said to you earlier, so I'm projecting that by the end of the summer, with how things are going right now, I'm hoping to get to a consistent six-figure mark. And then that sounds kind of crazy with everything that's going on in the world, but like it is doable. So I'm hoping to get to that point by the end of the summer, early fall, and then kind of just go from there. My goals, like I have my goals from the course like written right here. So like I was saying that a year from now, I'm hoping to get to at least 150,000 a year. That's kind of like my big goal right now, and kind of just scale up from there. And like And like you, I'm not much of like a big team person, so I don't really want like a million employees or anything like that. I just want like a few loyal, consistent employees, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what we're going for right there. And I'm hoping that it stays that way. And yeah, that's kind of where I see 2020 going.
Cool. So what if you could give one piece of advice to someone in your position just starting out, what would that be?
That's a good question. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. The biggest
No,
thing
no,
that
no, no. Mm-mm. I
no,
don't allow that answer because like
no,
I've made it such a point from like the beginning of these student interviews that like if someone starts talking about like agency incubator or like
yeah,
six-figure estimate, which is the old version of like
yeah,
what it's done for them, I'm like, that's very sweet, but like I'm here to literally get into that mind of yours and provide people with as
okay,
much value and
yeah,
tangible. So give it.
yeah, yeah,
Like I love it. I appreciate it, and
yeah,
there's so
yeah.
much truth in it. But give me something
No, no,
else.
for sure. Best piece of advice I'd say, start outsourcing your work sooner. That's a big one for me.
Interesting.
While I still don't have a consistent team, I still have outsourced stuff differently throughout the months. And it saved me a ton of time. And a lot of people, I know they want to like save as much money for themselves as possible, but especially when you're just starting up, start getting those teammates, start outsourcing what you need to get done. Even for me, like this whole lead sourcing thing, that saves me probably a good 20 hours a week just alone there. Um, so like start outsourcing, start figuring out what works best for you, and start investing into your teammates or your team members, because it'll save you a ton of time, and chances are you'll get more success from investing into your team than if you try to do everything yourself. That's like, I think, the best piece of advice by far that I have.
Yeah, I could definitely back that, as well as like you got to ask yourself what, like your client doesn't know that your VA or whatever found the lead for you. Like you got to look in the value chain, and you got to look at the different links and the different steps to actually what produces a client. There's certain aspects where like I know some people, once they get to a bigger agency point, outsource their sales. In my opinion, it's something that should never be outsourced full stop. Like unless you're literally having 160 sales calls a month. And if you're having 160 sales calls a month, then you're probably onboarding anywhere from 20 to 40 of those. And like, I don't know, show me an agency owner in the world who's onboarding 20 to 40 new clients a month and retaining their old clients that doesn't hate their life. Like I've never found an agency owner who is onboards more than, I'd say even 10 new clients, 10 to 12 new clients a month, and still keeps those 60 to like 65 plus profit margins. In my opinion, if you're running an agency below 50% margins or 50%, like there's just no point. Like you might as well stay small and
Definitely.
take home the same amount of profit. But anyways, long story short is, so in my opinion, that sales thing is a holy thing. Don't fuck with that. But everything prior to that, setting the appointments, getting appointment setters, which I would love to see you bring on next, especially at your stage, getting appointment setters, duplicating yourself in that sense, or at least just getting people to find the fucking leads for you. Like that's not a very high impact thing. So I love that you said that. Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, dude, I just want to thank you for your time, for jumping on this student interview. It's I said it's been
Yeah,
long
thank
overdue.
you so thank you so much for having me on here. I woke up on Monday and I saw your message. I was like pumped to just get on today and get this going.
Awesome. Cheers, dude.
So